And just like that, the trial of Toby Madden is over. But it did not end without fireworks. He came into the court confessing, and he left confessing.
To the jury.
Thank you.
Judge, if I
Yes,
may,
sir.
I did note that Mr. Madden's decision, he just put on the record to not testify. Obviously, the language of him not testifying needs to be in the instruction.
That is.
Oh, because he had it in that he
says
would.
defendant
Yes,
does
sir.
testify, so obviously there needs to be language about him not testifying and accept the standard language of not
Yes, sir.
used evidence. So.
All right. Thank you for that.
Your Honor, if I can just add one more thing. I've asked him multiple times to subpoena some information that would show how this all started, and he's refused over a period of months. He's told me to my face that he's not going to subpoena the information, and that if I try, he said later on, you're just going to have to file an appeal. But I'm not, for the same reason that the neighbor that was next door to us, the mayor, the one who robbed the bank, there was on record, that she was saying that me and Rochelle both were great neighbors, and I don't look like somebody that would be a murderer. And, she was happy to have us, and she let me use the phone all these different times to call while we still were living. But he thought that wasn't sufficient enough evidence for the jury to hear, and I thought it was. He said, but if you try to bring that forth, I'm going to make sure that she shuts it down. Why would he have you shut that down? I don't understand. But listen, you've made a ruling. There's plenty of things that I thought that needed to come out. For example, when I asked him to ask the detective, this gentleman right here, when he ran down the hallway after I was beat up on March the 27th and taken down 2 hallways, dragged out of my shoes down to the bottom of the basement inside a cell. You could hear me screaming out. Why did he leave this courtroom and run down 2 hallways? Why did he come up to my face? What did he say to me? What? He goes, I don't. And then, when I said, hey, ask him if he knows Rochelle's niece who works at the front desk at the Hamilton Police Department in the same building that he works at. I just asked him if he knows how well he knows her. He refused to do that. So there's so many things that I thought that I just wanted to put on the record. And that's all I have to say right now.
Is there anything else, Mr. Wilder?
Judge, I'm not going to respond to the allegations because if I were to do that, I would be breaking attorney-client privilege, and I'm not going to do that at this point. I'm prepared to argue his case as best I can based on the limited discussion we've had about the case. Despite my many efforts and meetings with him, not having a lot of information about the situation that occurred has limited me, but I'll just leave it at that.
Well, one other thing. You know that on March the 27th, about near 9 a.m. 2024, I was brought in here in the afternoon, probably sometime. Most of the time I had hearings that were in the afternoon, 3:15, 1:45. Times that my family didn't even know because times weren't being logged on the computer when I was having court. So nobody could be here. I was brought up with no other inmates. I was always and woken up out of my sleep saying, hey, you got a court date today. Having hearings without me there. But I was in the jury box and I said, hey, they wanted to have a proceeding with me while I was inside there. And I said, I protested. I said, hey, listen, I'd like to be at the desk, so that I can go on record. Because if at any time that there's been a proceeding or a hearing here, if you haven't heard my voice, then you can sure be 100% know for a fact that I wasn't there. And being that I was not allowed to come over and stand at the desk, listen, and I protested. I didn't want him as an attorney. You know that I didn't want him as an attorney. And I told you all that. I don't want him as an attorney. And for that reason, he said, get him. and I had the shoes beaten off of me all the way down the hallway, down 2 hallways, down to the elevator, and this man right here gets up for some reason and comes down
I'm going
the
to stop
hallway.
you. I'm going to stop you, Mr. Madden.
And ask him what he said to him.
We've talked about some of this before.
Okay.
I've got your jury is waiting, and I don't
All
want to
right,
keep them
all right.
waiting. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you,
Yes, ma'am.
if everybody's prepared to go forward, we'll go on with the closing
Yes, ma'am.
arguments, and I'll have the jury instructions modified while we're doing that, and have them passed out to you before they're read to the jurors. But we will
But
change.
I did ask for that preservation of that footage, of the footage when I was beat up at the jail too. So, but none of those things. Multiple. But here we are.
And we're going to go ahead and bring in the jurors. Okay. Thank you.
This next clip happened during the state's second part of their closing arguments when the defendant interrupted and the judge had to try and get the jury out of there quickly.
Hold this defendant responsible for killing her. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say that state
Okay.
exhibit
Jurors, I'm
number
going to ask you to
66
return to the jury room.
State exhibit 66 is a stick in there. And I also, if you look at the video of them questioning me down at the police station, if you look at it, they asked me, how did the blood get in the sink? I told them that there was blood on my face after I was doing CPR, and I told them that I went to the sink.
at this time.
Look at state number exhibit number 66. Ask for it back there and see. There's a stick right there. They won't. There's plenty of things they won't bring to you. Ask for it. Right?
You can get that. Okay, now we're
Right.
done. Okay, so
I know you're not commenting.
the court is not going to tolerate. Let me go back on from there.
You're not, listen,
All right,
what
we're
you're
going
not
to
going
move
to
to
do
the
is I'm not
defendant to
going to
the
sit
upstairs
here
remote
and
location and
allow
take a
you
recess.
to.
Thank you.
This is what you did the last time when on. You gonna come running down the hall this time? You got something to say?
So after that outburst, the judge sets him up in a different courtroom so that he does not interrupt any further, and within the next couple hours, the jury will come back with a guilty verdict. Then they go along to sentence him. During sentencing, she asks him if he has a comment, and we get his last confession.
Information technology specialist to please unmute the video feed. And Mr. Madden, if there's anything that you'd like to say on your own behalf, you're welcome to say it at this time.
Well, I would like to say something, Your Honor. I found it. I'm truly sorry to my family, to Michaela, Sherry, Ginger, Morgan, Megan, Maya, not the Megan, Maya, Morgan, and Jim, Alex, and Brandon, John, and all of her friends, Carlita, Christy, Dawn, and I told Mr. Wilder that I'm responsible, that I committed this offense. And I told him how, and I told him what happened. I went into detail, and I told him what happened. And for some reason, he chose to allow the state to perform an act up there and state that I tried to hide everything that I'd done, and as if I didn't do it. I never mentioned that one time that I didn't do it. I told these officers, these deputies, that I done it, and he knows that too. And for whatever reason, the mistake decided, he decided not to put up the exhibit number that I requested. He never pulled up the phone records. He never went and asked for the. Have you ever seen a murder trial where there's never been the interview produced to be seen? Not even on TV and A and B movies, but I understand why. He had an agenda, and but at this point in time,
I'm objecting to
I
that.
accept the court's decision.
Sustained.
But it's if there's anyone out there that wants to get to the bottom of it, and you're able to come and really see, you see that that there's discrepancies here that aren't matching up, and there's so many that I can put you on the trail to, and the kibbles and bits are laying right on the floor. But when you're poor, this man I never saw for almost 4 months.
All right, Mr. Madden, I'm going to interrupt you. Okay, let's go ahead and mute it.
2 days before it was time to go to trial discussion, now he says, hey, listen, I'm going to be able to prove through logs that I showed up.
Okay.
You don't have to mute it. You don't have to mute it. I'll stop going into detail, but I'll tell you this.
I'm interested in hearing anything that you want to tell me as to why I should give you, how I should sentence you.
Well, I just want you to know this. To my family. You know, all the years, if it did please you to know that somebody is suffering, I don't presume to know the pain that you're going through. I don't presume to know the pain that you're going through, but and I don't understand it. But I can tell you, you don't know the pain that I'm going through, knowing that I'm the one that caused this tragedy. And if there's any solace, there's any silver lining in knowing that when I go to bed, it's on my mind. When I wake up in the morning, it's on my mind. When I think about SeaWorld in San Diego, I think about walking on the beach in Florida, the chalet in Gatlinburg in February. I think about all the years, all the meals that we've had together, the Christmases, the Thanksgivings, the summers. It's these feelings, these emotions are
All right. It appears the audio has been turned off at this time. Any objections to that, Mr. Wilder?
To the audio being
Yes, sir.
No objection to that. I would, if I may.
You
as
may.
being televised.
Yes, sir.
Without getting into specifics, obviously honoring the attorney-client privilege that I've held with Mr. Madden for 9 months, I can say that the specifics of the before, during, and after were never brought to my attention.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so at this time, if there are any victims' representatives that wish